Welcome to episode 8 of the Prairie League podcast. I'm Andrew Brethauer. I can't call you part-timer anymore.
No, you can't.
No. I'm going to come up with another nickname.
I appreciate that, though, that, you've recognized I'm no longer a part-timer. You missed one podcast. And,
You missed the most important one.
I'm sorry. I know.
It was opening week.
Life gets in the way sometimes,
Well, at least you're here for, I guess, what we're going to dub the championship week of this podcast. We just finished up B. We're going into A. It's crazy. It's almost over.
Oh, I know. Every time you bring that up, it kind of breaks my heart a little bit.
Okay. There's still a lot to go. Like, we still got some July and August, and there's still softball, but it went fast.
It always does. It always goes so fast, and you just try and squeeze in as many summer activities and sports as you can, and that just seems to make it go faster. And I hate the winter time so much.
Well, especially up in northern Alberta where it's constantly.
It's just awful. It's just awful.
But anyway, so we did have all the B division wrap up their league. Did you see the brackets and how those all ended up?
Yeah, I did.
There's some, it's kind of interesting. So I have actually some notes on this, and we'll get to the winners, but some interesting notes was that, so 3 of the 4 top teams won their league this year, which is what you would expect.
Yeah.
But 2 of the 3 teams actually lost on their way to the finals and had to win their way into it.
Oh, wow. So they had to go the hard way.
Yeah, so the hard way. So that's what you want, though. So you got to at least give the league that. So we'll run down real quick some of these teams here. So for U12B, the Olds Pistols, they were our champions this year. U14B, the Elnora Eagles. The U16B was the Unity Panthers, winning on home field. And U19B was the Red Deer Rage. And kind of like we talked about last week, you got literally the entire spectrum there of small to large.
Yeah, I was just thinking that as you were reading them out. It's nice to see that there's a little bit of variation within the champions.
Oh, for sure. And then I'm calling almost maybe the Cinderella team, the Elnora Eagles. So they were 3rd seed, and they beat pretty much they beat everybody because they swept all the way. In 5 games, they scored 55 runs.
Wow.
And they only allowed 7.
Wow, they cleaned house.
Yeah, and 6 of those came in the final. So, when I'm looking at this, I'm like, well, there's your team to beat. So
yeah. Well, and you get into those grooves as a team where hitting is just so unbelievably contagious that you get into that rhythm and that groove with your teammates, and it just makes the game feel so easy. And it seems like that's kind of where they were at, because they were just scoring a ton, so it seems like they were really in a good spot as a team.
Well, especially too when it's tournament style softball, and in any sport wise, people will always tell you when it comes down to a tournament weekend, and when you have one weekend, you just basically have to put it all together. And if you don't have it, it's not like a regular season where if you lose a game on a Saturday or Sunday, whatever, the following weekend you just come back. You got to put it all together for one weekend, and it's hard to do, especially when this is maybe your only 3rd competitive weekend together.
Yeah, and that's every sport. You have to peak at the right times. You could be the best team, all year. Look at the Raptors. Be the best team, another basketball analogy here, but best team absolutely all season, and then comes to playoffs and you just can't put things together. You're not peaking at the right time, and that is huge. That's everything. You have to peak together, at the appropriate time at the end of the season.
And kudos to them, because that's exactly what they did. I think they beat the 1st seed. They beat the 2nd seed. It was the U14 bracket too, by the way. That was a scheduling nightmare. I looked at it, I'm trying to the first glance of it, it's just massive. It had the most teams, and it was just wow, trying to figure this all out. But hey, kudos to them on capturing what is now being called the Cassidy Cup, named after a prominent coach in the league who's helped develop the B, so can stop calling it the B Division Cup now.
That's good.
Yeah. I'm going to take the other note I pulled out of it was from the U12, the Olds Pistols, the only undefeated team in the entire B division. Finished the season 14-0.
The season within the league, they didn't lose a game. Wow.
They didn't lose a game.
Wow, good for them.
Providing I'm reading my schedules right, and now I'm doubting myself, but
Yeah.
Yep, the only undefeated team, so pretty
And
impressive.
You know what though? And as amazing as that is, and congratulations. A lot of times I find undefeated teams don't do well when it comes to big times because they don't know how to battle through diversity because they haven't lost or had to, you know what I mean? Like it seems so. Obviously, they were just good enough that it didn't really matter.
And well, that goes back to the point of the 2 of the 3 top teams losing to get their way back, or had to get their back way, get themselves back in.
Yeah.
It's when I talk about life lessons in this and why we play sports, there's a beautiful life lesson there about, you have to go through diversity, and now you're in a win or you're done kind of game, and then you win, and then you got to go and play the team that just beat you to knock you down there. So it's, this is why we play sports. Let's just throw that out there.
And as cliche as it sounds, you learn more from a loss than you do from a win. And that's usually why teams that fight through a lot of adversity or injuries or whatever in the season, they can do incredibly well when push comes to shove because they've gone through it. They've battled back. They've been through, all the different types of struggles in the season, and you become your character of your team and the mental toughness of your team is just that much more developed. Whereas when you're always winning and sweeping, it becomes you don't necessarily have to battle through that. But maybe I'm incorrect when saying that maybe they had a ton of close games and they had to come back in all of these and just found a way to win. And so, good for them. That's really impressive.
Except for Olds, they're just glaring at us right now, being like, "What are you guys talking about?" So.
Well, that's what I mean. I'm saying they probably had these games where they had to fight and battle back because, if you're just cleaning everybody up throughout the season, it most of the time doesn't tend to work out that well.
And the other thing,
especially if the league is close, right? Like if teams are peaking and playing really well, and all of a sudden you're losing, and there's teams that are right there with you, that can become a problem too.
Yeah, and especially I want to say the U14 division. That division had probably the most parity of anybody. There's 5 teams who had 7 or more wins. So
wow.
That's you had Unity, St. Albert, Elnora, Irma, and Edmonton all with. So there again, you have the diversity of your city sizes from Edmonton down to Unity, and and all of them are in that 2-game. Everything kind of ended. They're all close. So. Great to see that, at least that parity, especially at that age level too, because obviously moving on, it's just going to get hopefully more and more competitive because that's what you want. You want to peak competitive-wise when you get to the U16, U19 ages as well.
For sure.
So I guess we're going to listen more about one of our players from our league. Who'd you talk to this time around?
Well, I've talked to a lot of girls now. Now, when I start going down the list, I've got to know a lot of the girls actually in the league, which is great. But the first one that we're going to do today is Lauren Prosco. She plays for Sherwood Park Storm 02. She's a catcher and a multi-sport athlete as well, which, as you know, I always appreciate, so I'm a little bit biased. But yeah, so she's playing for Sherwood Park, and I believe you said that they're 8th seed going in.
I believe so.
Yeah, so
we'll get to that.
Yeah, so we'll get to know Lauren Prosco a little bit.
Lauren Prosco, so I play for Sherwood Park Storm 02.
And what position do you play?
I'm a catcher and second base.
Catcher, nice. And how old are you?
I'm 15, almost 16.
Oh, okay. So how long have you been playing softball, and why did you get started in the first place?
I think I started when I was about 7-ish, and baseball, and then I went into softball when I was about 9 or 10. And I started playing because I was playing soccer and I was bored. So
your parents made a good decision and decided to put you in a more exciting sport. I understand that. Have you played with the Sherwood Park Storm pretty much since you started?
Yeah, I started with Sherwood Park, and then I went to Edmonton Warriors for a year, and then I came back to Sherwood Park. Yeah.
I also played for Sherwood Park and then played for the Warriors as well, but I played for the Sherwood Park Shakers. I don't know if you know. Is that a team anymore?
I don't think it's a team.
Yeah.
About, yeah.
Oh, wow, that makes me feel so old. Okay. So you play catcher,
Yeah.
which very nice sport. Or position. I mean, I think that's one of the coolest positions you can play on the diamond. What do you like about it? Why do you catch?
Well, I think it's because it's just you do a lot more, and it's like you kind of have to like lead the team, and it's just I don't know. I like it. Like I'd rather do that than like be like an outfielder or something, because it's just like you're more involved with it.
Yeah.
I think.
Every single pitch, you're calling a play, you're calling a pitch, you're doing something, like you're very much the quarterback of the diamond, right? So is that something you're kind of attracted to then?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
What else do you love about softball besides, like the actual game aspect? What else does it give you?
I think it's just the experience of it all. Like every tournament, like and like with the people that are there, and it just, I don't know. It's just like a nice environment to be in, and like you make like so many like good friendships, and it's just
For one of the things that I realized as I kind of got older is that female athletes have, for the most part, good high confidence, high self-esteem, and that's why I like to promote female sport in general. So I like to play kind of everything, and I promote girls to play whatever they, their heart desires, kinds of thing. Do you think that playing softball has been good for you that way?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it's taught me a lot about like just how to get over things, and like how to deal with failure. I think that's taught me a lot.
Because the sport is based around failure.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people know that,
Yeah.
but if you're just barely not failing, then you're doing a very good job. So that's a good point. Another point was when I played, there were like softball was almost dying out. It was very sad because it's a beautiful sport, and now I came out to this tournament and being a part of the GPLS. There's 104 teams. Girls are flooding into this park to play softball. Like what do you think about that?
I think it's great because it's just like it's a great sport, and like I said, it's just like a great environment to be in, and I think it's good that more girls are like getting into it and like just having fun with it and like wanting to be in the sport. So
if there was like a little girl listening to this, what would be a piece of advice or something you would like them to know, if they were thinking about playing softball?
Just that if you have a bad day, it's not going to be the end of the world, because everybody has a bad day, and it doesn't mean you suck, like most people start to think. So it just shake it off, and the next day it's going to be better.
So that was Lauren Prosco with the Sherwood Park Storm. More getting to know. You're a woman of the people. Look at you.
I know. I feel like I ramble so much though in those interviews, trying to chat them up. But it's nice getting to know those girls. It really is something I look forward to when I go out there. It's just seeing who makes up the league and younger girls playing the sports. I love it. I really do love it.
And I think it's one of the bright spots of this podcast, the fact that we're showcasing the people who make up this league and who play in this league, and just getting a little glimpse of what athletes go through, what they think. And that's kind of one of the whole major reasons to doing this podcast. Definitely.
And like the coverage on girl sports, regardless of the level or the age, it's always a good thing to cover more female sports. And I think and I can't speak for them, I don't know, but I know when I was younger, anytime I had a chance to speak to media or whatever, it was always really exciting and a good skill to kind of have going forward too.
And you just like the camera.
I do that too, yeah.
Yeah, let's be honest.
I am going into TV, so, I do have a bias towards that as well, but.
Well, I had the face for newsprint and the voice for radio, and I'm doing a podcast, so.
Jeez, just tearing yourself apart. Yeah. Have a little bit of confidence,
I was on TV,
Andrew.
though. I was on TV regularly every week, so.
Yeah, exactly. So you obviously have some sort of face for TV.
No, I had a big mouth.
That works too. A lot of people make big careers out of that.
Yeah. So let's move on to more softball. So we just already did the B division. Now we're moving on this weekend, A division in Sherwood Park as well. So kind of fitting that we're talking to the Sherwood Park girls today.
Yeah.
So lots of more exciting softball going to be happening as we start to crown this year's MacLean-Ross Cup champions. I feel like we should talk a little bit about MacLean-Ross and why they've actually decided to choose her for their trophy. If you don't know it, you should maybe go and watch a movie called A League of Their Own.
One of my absolute favorite movies.
I knew you were going to say that.
I love it.
The most famous line, I think I've already brought it up on this podcast, episode 1, that there's no crying in baseball.
Yeah.
So if that's the only thing you know from it, at least you know where it's from. But that league and what that league represented is exactly, it shows the trend setting and where sports can go, especially for women. And that at that time, there actually wasn't any professional leagues for women pretty much in any sport, and especially in the United States. So, when World War II broke out and the men were gone off to fight, they actually wanted to have a league. And so they brought in the most professional women they could find from all over the country, including Canada, which also brought in Lloydminster's own Lucella MacLean-Ross. So, it kind of shows where the sport, how far it's come, and it's taken a while and it's still a lot to go, but it's kind of just showing, where things have gone and, kind of paying respect to the people who actually started the whole trend of women's sports and taking them professionally.
And not only were they incredible ball players and, strong women, but they dealt with a lot of backlash for that too. People didn't think women's professional sport should exist, and they weren't afraid to tell them that. And so not only were they playing games an unbelievable amount, and they were playing injured and trying to do play the sport that they absolutely love and dealing with injuries and all these different types of things, but they were dealing with hecklers and people that thought that they couldn't be taken seriously, and they did it all and did it very well with all of that aside. So these women were unbelievable. It's when I look at my career as an athlete compared to what I had to go through, what they had to go through, my career would not have been as smooth and as fun and as easy as it was if it weren't for women like her and women in this league. It's absolutely inspiring.
Yeah, so you always have to pay some respect to where the game has come from, and whatever sport you play, it doesn't matter.
Always.
Multi-sport athlete, right?
I didn't even have to bring it up.
I know. I thought I'd just throw it in there. But we're hoping this weekend there's going to be no rainouts, because there was 2 years. If you look at the championship history of 2 years of rainouts, and nobody likes to see that.
No, it's the worst.
No. So we're hoping that there's going to be some beautiful weather in Sherwood Park this weekend as the A division comes together. The other thing to point out too, and it should be pointed out to every A team, just look at the B division for what happened to some of these teams and having to battle back. And it's, you're not done until you're done. So if you lose the first game, you still have that ability to go through the constellation bracket and get yourself back into the final game. Season ain't over until it's finally over and the bags and the bats are all put away. So,
and there's a lot to be said for teams that can do that, because that is hard.
And you can just go up and down sports and look at how many times does a low-ranked seed come back and win, or the underdog. Everyone loves an underdog story, so there's a reason we have those stories, because they do happen. So, and it's kind of the beauty of I think the way these playoffs are set up, and that if you lose, you still have an opportunity, because that's all you need. Kind of like in poker, they say chip in a chair. It's kind of the same way.
Yeah.
Look at that! I got a poker reference in on here. So let's just take a quick look. U12 division. Your top seeds go into, it looks like, let me pull up. I don't even know. Not even prepared for this. St. Albert Angels, that's what it was. I had the wrong division up. Anyway, so St. Albert has your top seeded team coming out of U12A, finished 14-1.
Wow.
Also, Calgary finished 14-1. I'm guaranteeing St. Albert beat them. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but that's what I'm going with.
Yeah, so. if you're number 2 and you have the same record as the number 1, obviously your loss came from them.
So St. Albert's going to have to wait for their first round matchup, as they'll have to wait for the winner between the Lloyd Liners 06 and Sherwood Park Storm. So should be an interesting weekend.
That's nice that you come in first and you get that bye the first day as a little bit of a reward. It can be a little bit that can be detrimental sometimes too. So because everybody gets a game under their belt, and then you're kind of coming in if they have a little bit of momentum going in years. But if you use it correctly, it can be pretty helpful because it's a long weekend.
Yep. And in the U14A, we have the top 4 teams there earned by. So you have the Calgary Kaizen 04, St. Albert Angels, their number 4 seed, the Sherwood Park Storm, and the Edmonton River City. All 4 of those teams will earn themselves buys, and they'll wait for their, the other first rounds. But like we said, those, 8, 9, 5, 12, those kind of teams, you still have an opportunity. There's always that chance to keep moving back up and get yourself back into a contention. It's never over until it's over. So what are we seeing here? And that's, again, like if you're looking at the U14 division, a lot of parity between all these teams. And I know they've had maybe an extra weekend of more games, so there's a lot more you can kind of take out of it. But you're starting to take away from here. There's a lot of more over 500 teams, especially in U14. You got at least looking at 5 teams that have over 10 wins this season. So there's going to be some teams that are going to drop down into that lower bracket, but you still have an opportunity to get yourself back up.
And that's exciting because, like, going into this tournament, if you really don't have someone that's completely dominant over everybody, like, it can go any way, right? It's who shows up, who wants it more that day, and that makes it really exciting. I love that they're so close.
And that's how you get better. That's
Definitely.
the key. You don't get better by winning with 20 runs all the time. You need those close games because that's where you actually learn the fundamentals, or you place those fundamentals that you've learned into what you're actually doing. Because every little bit, how you motion to throw into a base, or how you take off from a base, or even swing, all of that kind of comes into it, and every little bit counts, especially when you're 1-run, 2-run games. Swing of the bat changes the whole dynamic.
It's a game of inches.
Isn't
right?
that golf?
Everything's a game of inches. Baseball, football, golf, tennis, it's all a game of inches. It's just kind of a blanket term.
No instant replay though.
No.
And
it's also good. It's also good to have that parity for teams that maybe won't medal this year, but if they have good close games with the teams that are doing really well, it's motivating for future seasons to be like, we were so close last year, we just make a few changes, do a couple things a little bit differently, and we'll be right up there competing for a provincial championship. And so that's really good just for the future of the league and where that goes, because if there are teams that are always dominating, it can be pretty discouraging for the teams that don't really have what they feel it would be a shot at winning. So when you're having these close games with all of these different teams it is incredibly motivating, or it would be for me.
And that's the key too, is that there is more after this weekend. There is provincials coming up as well. There's Westerns, there's Nationals, there's a lot more to come. So take every opportunity you can, because there's still a lot more to go.
Well, and that's what you want. Like if you're competing really hard with people within your province, everybody that's representing your province at Westerns, at Nationals, at all of those different tournaments, the more you had to compete within each other, the better represented our province is going to be at Nationals, because Ontario, their teams have so many players to pick from. They have so many different teams and they compete all year. BC, their season is just so much longer, so it does make it tough to compete with places like that. But when our leagues are strong and you're sending really strong competitors because everyone in that league is tough, it gives you a better shot.
Let's just move on to U16 also. So Red Deer, Sherwood Park, my favorite team name, Calgary Chaos. I don't know why, I just love it. The Prince Albert Aces and the Calgary Kaizen are all getting their first round buys, and they're going to wait for their first opponents. Again, though, every one of them has won over 11 games this year. Even throwing underneath that, Lloydminster Liners are 9-6. So again, a lot of parity, a lot can happen, a lot of motion. So I guess that's the joy of a whole weekend like this, and having it set up in a tournament bracket where there's an extra chance, because you're going to get, from the very first game, you're going to get a lot of movement and a lot of different matchups that maybe you only face them once this year, maybe you face them again twice, but now that's putting the pressure on of a championship weekend. So lots of great softball to come up this weekend.
Definitely, it's exciting. I'm really hoping to be out there either Friday or Saturday and watch some really good ball. It sounds like it's going to be, pretty intense and exciting.
So we also got one more player from Sherwood Park. You want to
Yeah.
tee up here.
Yeah, and like you said, like it's perfect. We have two girls from Sherwood Park introducing as we go into the the championship cup. But we have Hope Baird. She also played Sherwood Park Storm 02, so she's teammates with our last girl, Proskow, and sorry. And she is a pitcher. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I got, and I'll let you get to know Hope a little bit.
Hope Baird, Sherwood Park Storm 02. I play pitcher.
And age.
15.
I had to think about that one. Okay, so how long have you been playing softball for?
This will be my 11th year.
And why did you start playing in the first place?
I just kind of like grew up around softball influences. My dad played. Me and my brother played together, and then we just kind of just been my sport forever. I don't know.
What's something that keeps you coming back every summer? Like, what is it about softball that you love? If you can think of one kind of thing.
I don't know. I just have like a passion for the sport. It's just like I love it.
So, what is it that you love about it? Like, if that's something that happens on the diamond, is it something with like being on a team? Is it all of those things? Like, what are some aspects of the sport that you love?
Definitely being part of a team, because like you're like a family. You kind of go through life together for a while, and I've played with most of these girls for like my whole life. So it's just like loving the sport really gives you like that thrill, or like when you hit the ball and it's like the dong. Yeah, I don't know.
That's awesome. One thing, so like I played fastball growing up as well for quite a long time, and one of the things that I really loved about it was you wait all winter, and then you get to see all of these girls that I grew up in a super small town, so I always traveled to go play sports, and I was always really excited to see your friends and your girls that you play with on the diamond. So this is opening weekend. How do you feel finally being out here on the diamond? It's a beautiful day. Like, what's going through your head today?
Feel good. Like practicing gyms all winter, and like it's good to get out and like actually do it. Like it just feels good. Really good.
You put in a lot of work over the winter.
Yeah.
So when did you start training over the winter?
We have our tryouts September. Yeah. So we started in October. So we got like a couple of weeks off, and we train ever since. And like pitchers and catchers, we have like our extra stuff. So like you can really tell when people are like putting in the extra stuff and like trying hard.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like winter training kind of. Yeah, that makes sense. When I was playing, by my last couple of years, there were 3 teams at provincials. 1 year I think there was 2, and so really our competition kind of came when we got to nationals. I look at this league, and there are 104 teams now. This diamond, or this park, is just flooded with softball girls, which I think is incredible, because softball is it's an amazing sport, and I was so sad when I thought it was gonna die out. So what are your thoughts on this league and on the this tournament with all these girls? You're so fortunate to have this, and how do you feel about that?
It's good to see like the variety of softball between like everybody, like just like see where people are coming from, and also like see teams grow with you. Like I've been playing against all these girls for like ever, so it's just good to like see that girls are like keeping at it, because softball is like, I feel like it's like underappreciated, so it's good to see that girls are like keeping at it and keep going.
I agree. I definitely think it's underappreciated.
Yeah,
it's an incredible sport. People don't understand how hard it is. So yeah, I like that. You're right. It is underappreciated. What's something that, besides like the physical skills, so besides the fact that you know how to fire a ball in there now and swing a bat and pick up a ground ball, what's something that softball has given you that you carry on through your life, or that you'll kind of take with you after you're long done playing?
Kind of like your mental mental game. Like you gotta be able to shake it off when you like strike out, or you walk a batter, or like you don't make your play, you got to be able to like shake that off, and also like you got to be there for other people when you like when they need help to like bring themselves up and stuff. Just like kind of
If you had advice to give to younger girls that are just starting, so they're just discovering that they love fastball, they're just starting to play, what would be something that you would tell them?
You got to go through the bad to have the good. Definitely. You're going to win some and you're going to lose some. So you just got to push through. Like, it's this sport. You're not going to win everything. You're not going to not ever have any errors. So just got to do you.
So that was Hope Baird with the Sherwood Park Storm. Like everyone else, going to be there this weekend for A Division Championship. Hopefully, a woman of the people is going to be there too. Talking to them more.
Yeah.
Talking to more.
A woman of the people. Yeah, I hope so. I really, I'll be out taking pictures and talking to people and getting to know everybody and really just enjoying the ball field and enjoying some good ball.
Well, hopefully. We want good
And
weather.
maybe I'll learn a little bit too, I'm going to watch and pick up some things from the girls out there and learn a little bit myself.
I saw you took on the home run derby.
I did. I struggled though. It's tough hitting them out of. Well, they set up like a little fake fence at Remax Field here in Edmonton, but it was tough. It's a long ways.
Did you at least point? Did you call your home run?
Never.
Oh, come on.
Never point. I'm not going to call something that I'm not sure is going to happen. The only way I do that is if I'm Babe Ruth and I know it's going out.
The difference between you and me, I'll go down flaming if I have to. So.
If you have to, I assume you just would.
Wow.
Well, you did tell me about your batting cage experience. You're not giving me a whole lot of confidence that you'd be hitting them out.
Yeah, but I think I'd have a smooth enough swing that it would just go over the fence every time.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think that.
Anyway, let's move on to.
I'll just keep jabbing you in the heart.
Yeah, we'll just keep doing that. So good luck, everybody, this weekend playing for the MacLean-Ross Cup. Congratulations to all the B teams as well. Season's never long enough, but hey, it's still a lot to go. Provincials coming up, Westerns and Nationals. Should also mention too, like there's a lot of softball they've recorded this past weekend at the All-Star Games for on the GPLS YouTube page. Just go look for Prairie League Softball. There's a couple more subscribers than there were last week, so just keep subscribing. Should also mention just how well our last podcast did. I was getting like hour by hour updates about how many people were listening to the podcast on YouTube.
It always surprises me that people want to listen to us talk.
It's my smooth voice. It's just.
It must be.
Yeah.
It must be.
Just my tone of my voice is so relaxing.
Yeah, puts everybody to sleep.
Yeah, hey, I'll take it.
Me too.
Yeah. Wow. We had 653 views for our last podcast.
That's pretty good.
It's almost more than all of them combined. So
yeah,
maybe we'll switch the date, but.
I think it was also the All-Star Game. Everybody wanted to kind of hear, who was going to be playing and whatnot. Like, I don't want to give us all the credit for that. I think a lot of it was just like, let's find out who's going to be in it and whatever. But, maybe a little bit to do with us, a tad.
That's you being really nice.
I know. It really is.
So let's wrap up here, episode 8 of the Prairie League podcast. We'll be back in 2 weeks for episode 9. We'll be starting to tee up. Sounds amazing. We're already teeing up provincials, so we're already there. It'll be July next time we do this.
Oh, God, that's so sad.
Summer is just going that quickly.
I know. It's awful. At least we've had some absolutely beautiful weather, though. And hopefully this weekend, it'll be just as beautiful for the girls playing.
Yep, so good luck, everybody, this weekend. Have fun out in Sherwood Park. And we'll talk to you in 2 weeks. Take care.